First of all, thank you so much. I'm a huge fan. I've been since the Fugees came out a long time ago. You know, I was ecstatic when I heard that I could open up for you, but now knowing that you're doing an interview, thank you so much, Lauryn. They told me that your voice was strained and you were going to do a short set, but I didn't notice anything.
It was there. It was there. You know, last night I struggled through a show. I mean, it was brutal for me. And I just assumed that tonight it would be even worse, you know, and
You did like almost 2 hours, no stopping.
it was there. The voice was there. It was there beautifully. You know, luckily I had obviously God on my side, enough rest. You know, I was able to take some medication that helped, and you know, it was there. But it's been sort of a grueling scheduling, which in the future I would do differently. But you know, all of this was a very valuable learning process and healing and rehabilitation process for me. Doing things like this, especially when I kind of stopped and almost became a civilian again, and getting back up is almost like getting a huge locomotive, you know, like a huge train. Chicka, 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 you know, you have to get it going and work out the kinks and things like that.
Were you nervous in the beginning? Because like you said, you know, it was a while.
Beginning of the tour or beginning of this show?
Beginning of the tour.
Yeah, I think I had some nervousness with respect to the fact that a lot of these musicians are very young, you know, new guys that I just met recently, you know, just started to develop and work with, and you know, and there were also other pressures that it's sort of a longer story. Maybe we'll get into another time, but it was all necessary, all you know, all poignant, purposeful, and I guess the appropriate pressure to produce the diamond, you know, out of the coal.
Now, when you're on tour like this, do you take the time to visit the place where you at?
Not, absolutely not. You know, you have to come back when there's not. I mean, I actually visited Paris after being to Paris several times. It was like the first time I was able to see Paris because I came, you know, not music related. Especially, I think in the future, I'll probably be able to do that a little more. I'd love to be able to take more in. But because of this scheduling, I've basically spent as much downtime as possible resting my voice.
Because like you said, we were talking earlier on, you were talking about Africa. You did one show over there. Did you take the time to check out the motherland?
I didn't really have the time that time. But that's, you know, that's because I think we were kind of conscious of the time, you know, at the time that we'd be coming back. And all of it has been so, you know, so much of the past, basically, 4 or 5 years have been just transitional for me. You know, confrontational, transitional, rehabilitational. So a lot of my moves have been, you know, like this. Whereas, you know, I'd love to be able to see Africa with the proper time, the proper production, you know, just the proper situation, so that when I'm there, representationally, what people get to see is what they should see.
Now you have a single out, Lose Myself, for the animated film.
Is it single out? It was a song that I did do for an animated film.
Now you say, I had to lose myself so I could love you better. Is that so?
Yes, I had, you know, and that's like a double entendre, because you got, you know, I had to lose, as in, you know, lose something myself, or I had to lose myself. And then ultimately it says I had to lose myself in love. You know, I had to lose myself in order to make it better. You know, I had to lose myself in order to love you better. Ultimately, I had to lose myself in order to love me better. You know, in order to love others better. So, it's a very poignant lyric. Interestingly enough, that lyric was written like 5 minutes in the shower, because it was so, you know, so direct and just bam.
Now you had fans waiting so long for a new album since Miseducation. Everybody's been begging you, come on, Lauryn, give us something, because I think every music lover has that album in his or her collection. So you ready now?
Yeah, there was a lot that happened. You know, a lot took place. A lot took place after the first album. You know, when you're young and you get an enormous amount of attention, you know, and certain just sort of world dynamics and, you know, the politics of situations, you just have to be very, very headstrong very prayed up, very protected, because there's often a lot of there's a lot that could force an individual to compromise. And to me, for me to make music, it doesn't really make sense for me to make music if I can't make something that has a purpose. So let's say, you know, I could have put out music 3 years ago. If there really wasn't a purpose attached to it, I don't know that I would have been interested. You know, I think the Fugees, you know, had the impact and the power that it did because we really believed in what we were doing at the time. You know, and we meant, you know, if not everything, we knew that there was something genuine, you know, and there was something purposeful about it. And the same thing with the miseducation. So for me, making music is a labor of love, and there also has to be an enormous amount of love involved in what I'm doing, and a purpose.
How do you cope with all that pressure? I mean, I have one of my sisters, she's into music as well. She had a hit back in the 80s, Technotronic, Pump Up the Jam. I don't know if you remember that. So, yeah, exactly. And she was 17 when that came out. That blew up. And I mean, mentally, and just, it almost really literally killed her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When I say transition and healing, I don't necessarily know that the success itself, but I think how the success affects people. You know, I think that people react to money, power, fame differently. And it can be very dangerous. And for me, because my peace of mind, my sanctity, you know, the things that I did, they came from a very spiritual place. So my environment had to be even more pure and sanctified than the average person's, you know, which when you're sort of in lion's den, you know, seems extreme. It's like, well, why do you have to do things that way? And, you know, and you appear difficult, but they don't necessarily realize that you're difficult because A, what you do is difficult, you know, and B, in order to produce something that's really special, you know, it requires a very serious environment. You know, the same way scientists, you know, require an extremely clean laboratory and controlled environment in order to, you know, create what they do and to do the experiments that they do and produce the things that help society. You know, you can't deliver, well, no, you can deliver a baby, but we know that, you know, open heart surgery, we want to do that in the cleanest atmosphere possible. And when you're dealing with people who make music and write songs about the human condition, you're really dealing with the human heart condition. And, you know, it's important to do that in a clean and sanctified area. You know, it's like a lot of the music I did tonight was Bob Marley. You know, Bob Marley took what he did so seriously. For him, it was a priesthood. You know, it wasn't, for me, it's a priesthood. It's not just, you know, let me just write this joint and, you know, I could do that. But for me, you know, for me to experience the high, it has to be something so connected. You know, it's so much deeper than just, you know, doing it necessarily for profit. That's when I'm really psyched about it.
So you said that you've been through that healing process. What can we expect now musically?
You know,
There is an album coming out, right, in 2008, Call Me Miss Hill? Or those are just rumors?
That's hilarious. I mean, when I hear things like that, I just crack up. I mean, no, I didn't put an album together with that title. But I plan on recording in the near future. As a matter of fact, as soon as I get back, actually. And, you know, again, for me, I want to make meaningful music. I think there's a lot of music out right now. You know.
Yeah, what do you think of the state of hip-hop right now?
That's a longer story. That's like a longer interview. I mean, I see a lot of talent, a lot of potential. You know, at the same time, I see a lot of lost potential. You know, I see a lot of what could easily be exploitative. Maybe we could sort of trace black music back and watch the pattern. You know, see how these black folks found this incredible music, you know, that comes from a place of expression and how it